A friendship turned deadly. Friendship is built on trust, loyalty, and shared history. But what happens when that trust is shattered in the most unimaginable way? Today, we delve into the shocking case of Brandon Christopher Risner, a man who not only betrayed his closest friend, Aaron Davis, but also took his life in a crime so brutal that it sent shockwaves through an entire community. Aaron Davis was a young man with a bright future ahead of him. Hailing from Cumming, Georgia, he had just passed his GCSE exam with flying colors and excitedly called his parents to share the good news. He was en route to visit his childhood best friend in Rome, Georgia, before heading to Alabama to see his girlfriend. A recent graduate of Brigham Young University, Idaho, with a degree in political science, Aaron was still weighing his options between a career in law or education. No matter which path he chose, his future was filled with promise. Known for his bold, colorful shirts and a personality that could light up any room, he had a rare gift for making people feel valued and appreciated. Aaron and Brandon had been inseparable for years. They grew up together, attended the same high school, and worshipped at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in their hometown. Their friendship extended into college, with both enrolling at Brigham Young University, Idaho. However, their academic paths soon diverged. While Aaron excelled and graduated in July 2022, Brandon only attended for a semester before dropping out. Beyond his ambitions, Aaron dreamed of building a future with his girlfriend, Charlie Girl Schellinger.
My name is Charlie Girl Schellinger. I am the victim's girlfriend.
The two often spoke about marriage, starting a family, and the life they envisioned together. He longed to become a father, especially a girl dad, and experience the joys of raising a daughter. He was full of love, laughter, and plans for the future, plans that should have been realized. But in a cruel twist of fate, the friendship Aaron had cherished for years turned into a nightmare. The trust he had placed in Brandon would lead to the ultimate betrayal that defied logic and humanity. What could drive a best friend to commit such an unthinkable act? How did a bond built over years of trust end in such horrifying tragedy? This is the story of a friendship gone terribly wrong, a story of loyalty turned to treachery, and a future stolen far too soon. November 11th, 2022, was meant to be a casual reunion between old friends. On his way to Alabama to visit his girlfriend, Aaron Davis stopped in Rome, Georgia, to see Brandon Risner, a childhood friend he had known since the 8th grade. Despite their lives taking different directions, their bond had remained strong over the years. That evening, the two decided to go out, visiting an outdoor beer garden along the Etowah River. While Aaron wasn't a heavy drinker, Brandon took the lead, ordering high alcohol content beers for them both. After spending some time at the beer garden, they returned to Risner's house, where they continued the night with wine, karaoke, and conversation. By midnight, the evening was winding down. Feeling the effects of the alcohol, Aaron went upstairs to rest in a guest bedroom. What he didn't know was that this visit with an old friend would be his last. Sometime during the early morning hours, Brandon Risner entered the room where Aaron lay asleep. In his hands, he clutched a knife. What followed was an act of pure savagery. Aaron was stabbed over 40 times in the head, chest, and torso. The brutality of the attack left blood splattered across the walls and ceiling, soaking through the carpet and mattress. There were no defensive wounds, no sign of a struggle. Aaron never saw it coming. He had been attacked in his sleep, murdered by someone he considered a brother. But the horror didn't stop there. In the aftermath, Risner's actions grew even more disturbing. Instead of remorse, he immediately began searching the internet for ways to cover up his crime. His searches included how to clean up blood, how to dispose of a body, and how long it would take for human remains to decompose. After scouring the web for answers, Risner set his plan into motion. He dragged Aaron's lifeless body into the bathroom, where he dismembered him. Then, he wrapped the remains in duct tape, stuffed them into a suitcase, and placed the body in the trunk of Aaron's own car, But he wasn't done yet. He needed to erase all traces of what had happened. As hours turned into days with no word from Aaron Davis, his family's concern grew into fear. His sudden silence was uncharacteristic, and when he failed to respond to messages or calls, his loved ones knew something was wrong. They filed a missing person report, triggering an investigation that would lead detectives to a horrifying truth. Retracing Aaron's last known whereabouts, authorities arrived at the home of Brandon Risner. What they found inside painted a gruesome picture. Bloodstains covered the walls, the carpet, and even the ceiling. A mattress, drenched in blood, left no doubt that a violent act had occurred in that room. The scene was more than just evidence of a crime. It was a nightmarish depiction of betrayal. Piecing together a timeline, investigators uncovered damning evidence. Surveillance footage captured Risner purchasing cleaning supplies, new bedding, duct tape, and shovels, clear signs of a premeditated attempt to cover his tracks. His internet history revealed even more chilling details, including searches on crime scene cleanup, washing machine drainage, and body decomposition. In an effort to mislead authorities, Risner tried to fabricate evidence that Aaron was still alive. He used Aaron's phone to send deceptive text messages to his girlfriend and family, pretending to be him. He even took part in search efforts, acting like a concerned friend, all while knowing exactly where Aaron's body was buried. But the deception crumbled under the weight of mounting evidence. Pressured by investigators, Risner finally led authorities to a remote wooded area off Tumlin Drive. There, beneath an uprooted tree, Aaron's remains were discovered in a shallow grave. His car, abandoned behind a levee in Heritage Creek Park, was yet another failed attempt to erase his crime. With irrefutable proof of his guilt, Risner had nowhere left to run. He eventually turned himself in, bringing a horrifying case to a close. Aaron had trusted his friend, spent his final hours in the company of someone he believed had his best interests at heart. But in the end, that trust was shattered in the most brutal way imaginable. As the truth came to light, one question loomed over the case. Why? What could have driven Brandon Risner to commit such a calculated and senseless act? Brandon Risner was arrested and charged with malice murder, aggravated assault, and concealing a death. As the trial progressed, investigators unearthed even more disturbing details. Risner had written haunting song lyrics describing the murder, showing an eerie detachment from reality. In the days following the crime, he carried on as if nothing had happened, reinforcing the unsettling nature of his actions. His trial exposed grim details that left even experienced investigators stunned. In July 2024, Risner pleaded guilty to all charges.
Having said that, I have considered all of the facts and circumstances of this case and counsel's arguments, and I have come to the conclusion that justice requires that Mr. Risner be sentenced on count 1 to imprisonment for life without parole. And that's what I'm going to do.
The courtroom was packed with Aaron Davis's grieving family and friends, their anguish evident as they listened to the devastating account of his final moments. The judge showed no leniency, sentencing Risner to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His parents were present, including his father, who had convinced him to surrender. His mother, struggling to comprehend the unthinkable, acknowledged the pain her son had caused, admitting that he was where he needed to be. The defense argued that Risner, though legally sane, suffered from autism spectrum disorder, an unspecified psychotic disorder, and substance-induced delusions. They claimed that after consuming edibles, he experienced a severe psychological break, believing he was receiving a divine prophecy that forced him to make an impossible choice. During sentencing, prosecutors read aloud Risner's own words, revealing his chilling mindset in the moments leading up to and during the attack. He described feeling like a predator, hiding and waiting before striking. He spoke of a complete absence of emotion, except for the shock of realizing how drastically his life had changed in an instant. Aaron's family and friends took the stand, their voices filled with sorrow as they shared memories of a young man full of warmth, ambition, and an unshakable love for life. They painted a picture of a future stolen. A son, a brother, a friend who had so much left to give. The courtroom was overcome with grief, a painful reminder of the devastating impact of a senseless act of violence. Months after the sentencing, Aaron's family continues to grapple with the loss of a life taken far too soon. Determined to honor his legacy, they have established a scholarship in his name, ensuring that his passion for education and his dream of making a difference live on through others. The case of Aaron Davis is a tragic reminder of how betrayal can come from the least expected places. This was not just a murder. It was a profound violation of trust, an act so cruel it left an entire community reeling. As we remember Aaron, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing those we love. His story is one of loss, but also of resilience, a legacy that will continue to inspire long after the trial has ended.